All right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment, which is going to be about what you can see on the screen here, free agent updates, and the guys still left in the market and what's going on with them. So, as you know, we've talked about the Boris for really the entire time I've been on this podcast. Been talking with you guys about them and what's been going on. Now that what's been going on now with the other free agents that are left with the Boris for, because two of them signed, obviously. Chapman going to the Giants, Cody Bellinger going back to the Cubs. We still have those two guys left. We have another one as well who's a big free agent. Still other mid-level free agents out there as well. We won't talk about them, but they're still out there. So there's a lot of people still in the market. I mean, we've talked about this a lot at this point, so not a surprise. So let's get into the guys still in the market. Some fits I think they could go, why I think they go there, and where I think they end up going. So let's start off with JD Martinez. The biggest DH left in the market by far, the best hitter still left in the market by far. After kind of a rough injury-riddled season in his last year in that amazing contract with the Red Sox, he went to the Dodgers, hooked back up with his hitting guru, the guy who's kind of helped him throughout his career, and would you know it, had a great season with them. Had to bounce back. I mean, that's what the Dodgers do. They just, veterans who we kind of thought were done, they revitalize their career. So, obviously he did leave in the offseason. He's not going to return to the Dodgers, considering they signed what I'd say significant upgrade at DH in Shohei Ohtani. JD Martinez is a great player, but you have the opportunity to sign Shohei Ohtani in its prime. I'm sure you're taking that over JD Martinez. So you have to look at the fits for JD Martinez right now. The three teams I'd say are fits right now. The first one is the Mets. So the Mets have been mentioned a lot with JD Martinez. It's kind of been strange why they've been mentioned so much, as what we've heard kind of the entire offseason is that they don't want to block their young players from getting chances, especially at DH, specifically guys like Mark Vientos, like Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio before he got injured. So I think it's surprising that the Mets have been mentioned this month with JD Martinez, but some new rumors came out about Martinez yesterday, which I made a short about as well. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. It's on the channel. And that is the fact that JD Martinez has mutual interest with the Mets, and the Mets have interest in him, of course, mutual interest. Steve Cohen has given the go-ahead to David Stearns to be in on Martinez bid for him if he does want to be. And I think the mutual interest part is huge for Martinez and the Mets. Obviously, we know of the report that he turned down a contract with the Giants before in the offseason. So I think it's pretty clear that if JD Martinez doesn't want to go somewhere, he won't. And him being interested in the Mets himself, I think, is a big deal. I don't think this is necessarily likely, though, still. Andy Martino kind of put it nicely in the way that, if it gets to a place where his contract drops so much that the Mets can't say no, just because of simply in a value way, I think will make sense. But all offseason we've heard that they aren't going to sign someone like Martinez, Jorge Soler, who was on the market before, because they want to give opportunities to their young guys, specifically Mark Vientos at DH. They want to not block him. They want to see what he can do there. So I don't think it makes much sense for the Mets to just abandon that philosophy and sign 36-year-old JD Martinez. But I think it's a possibility if his price does get to a point where you think that, okay, we have to take this. Like there's no other way. We just can't say no to this because of what he's asking for at this point. I think that's possible, but I don't think it's likely. So I don't think JD Martinez, the Mets, is going to happen, but it's still a fit because of how much it has been mentioned. Next, we have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Always love saying that full name. They've been mentioned a lot with him simply because they needed DH, because they did lose Ohtani. There could be a trade of sorts, quote unquote. The Angels getting the Dodgers DH, Dodgers getting the Angels DH. Martinez could add a nice middle of the order bat to the Angels that they will be missing, of course, this year, considering they lost Ohtani. Sorry, if you hear whimpering at the door, that's my cat wanting to get in, so I do apologize about that. I don't know why he's doing that. He's, cats, I guess. If you have one, you know what I mean. Other than that, I have the Angels. For the reason I think it makes sense for them, again, is they're missing that middle of the order pop with Ohtani leaving. Martinez would add a veteran presence to that room, to that clubhouse, to the DH room, and I think adding him would make a lot of sense in that way. Also, it's probably only going to be a one-year deal. I'd be very surprised if it's anything more than that. If the Angels are not competing at the deadline, which I don't think they will be, he can be traded to a contender and try to win a World Series. So I think Martinez to the Angels does make some sense. I don't think it happens just because the timelines don't really match up with him being older, with them probably wanting to give their more younger guys a chance at DH. But I still think it's possible, as they haven't mentioned a lot with him. Next, we have Texas. This is where I do, and I think Martinez will end up going. I think they could use him middle of the order bat. Another guy to add to that lineup. I mean, they have such great lineup already with Nathaniel Lowe, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, of course, Adolis Garcia, Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter. But I think adding Martinez would give you another guy at that DH position. You lost Mitch Garver, who was kind of playing in that DH catcher hybrid role a lot. You lost him, so I think Martinez could be an easy spot there. They haven't been wanting to spend money, but I think that's been kind of different on one-year deals. I mean, we've seen that they did a one-year deal with David Robertson for a lot of money, and that was deferred. So I think they could look that way for Martinez. So I definitely think Martinez to Texas is a possibility. I do think that's where he ends up going. But at this point as well, I think everywhere, all the Martinez suitors are kind of a mystery. So if he goes someplace that I didn't even have on my radar, I would not be surprised. So I think this is kind of a mystery. But I think if I had to choose somewhere, I would say it's Texas. But again, I think there's a lot of places that could use him and a lot of places that we haven't talked about as potential fits for JD Martinez. So, definitely a lot of places Martinez could go. Other than that, now we have going to our next big free agent, which is Blake Snell. Obviously, Blake Snell is the reigning Cy Young winner, still in the market because of a lot of reasons. I think consistency in his seasons. I think that's probably the biggest reason he's still in the market. And some fits I have for him. First, we're going to start off with the Giants. They've been mentioned a lot with Blake Snell as they've needed another top of the arm pitcher with their injuries to Keaton Wynn, Tristan Beck, more notably Alex Cobb and Robbie Ray. Obviously played with Bob Melvin in San Diego last year, who is the new Giants manager, so I think there's fits there. I don't think he goes to the Giants in the end because I don't think he fits what the Giants really want, which is starting pitchers. They don't walk a lot of people, and they haven't really given long-term contracts starting pitchers anyways, while Farhan Zaidi has been there. So I don't think he goes there, but they've been mentioned a lot with him, even after they signed Matt Chapman and Jorge Soler and Jung-Hoo Lee. So I think I had to mention them, but I don't think it's fairly likely that he does end up in the Bay because of those reasons. Same with the Yankees as well. They've been mentioned a lot, but I don't think he ends up going there. Obviously, the Yankees have been mentioned first. We know about the Yankees' interest in Blake Snell already. It's been fairly public. They want another big-time starting pitcher that I think is added a lot more now with the Garrett Cole injury. You have so much question marks in that rotation. Getting Snell will give you the reigning Cy Young winners for both leagues this year. So I definitely think Snell to the Yankees is a fit, but the problem is the money. Snell wants a lot of money, as he should. He's he won the Cy Young. If I won the Cy Young as well, I'd be wanting a lot of money. It is short. He probably does want a short-term contract at this point, but even still, the Yankees just cannot afford to give up that type of dough right now with where they are on the luxury tax. So I don't think it's likely just because of the money part. On a fit, there's probably no better fit than the Yankees, but I don't think he goes there because of the money problems, but he fits a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But as of right now, I think he doesn't go there or the Giants, and I think he ends up in the Angels, in LA with the Angels. I mentioned the Angels before with Martinez, but they always need pitching, the Angels. There was a report that came out from Buster Olney that he very much prefers the Angels over any other team, like a lot. We know that he's based in Southern California right now for the offseason. So I definitely think that's a big reason for this fit as well. Maybe wanting to stay home, not move a lot, especially if it is a one-year contract, which we've rumored that he wants because he isn't getting the long-term deal that he is looking for, so he could just settle for a short-term one. And I think the Angels will make a lot of sense. He doesn't have to move houses, just stay there. Plays in a beautiful ballpark, plays with a younger team that has a lot to prove. He could be traded at the deadline to a team that needs him. So I think there's a lot of fit here with the Angels. I think what we're just waiting on is Artie Moreno pulling the trigger and waking up one day and saying, you know what, I want Blake Snell. I think that's kind of how the Angels organization has been operated. My cat's getting louder. Sorry about him. Definitely a fit here for Blake Snell. And I do think the Angels are where he ends up going. But again, there's a lot of fits for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if some mystery team comes out of nowhere and wants pitching. Maybe a team like the Orioles, the Mariners, who I've mentioned before because he is from Seattle. But as of right now, I think the Angels are where he ends up. But there are a lot of teams that could be interested in his services, so I don't think it's a shut deal as of right now that he is going to the Angels no matter what. The last free agent I do want to mention here is, of course, Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery's been mentioned with a lot of teams, but we'll talk about three that I mentioned before with the other players, which are the Angels, Giants, and Yankees. Kind of what I've mentioned with Blake Snell as well. Angels, Giants, and Yankees, they all need starting pitching. I think Montgomery makes a lot of sense for all of them, especially the Yankees and the Angels. Obviously, he has experience with the Yankees. Was traded, spent most of his career there before being traded from there to St. Louis a few years ago. So I think that's I don't know, it's wrong right there. Sorry, I don't know why I kept sputtering for like 5 seconds, but I think that's why he makes a lot of sense for the Yankees. I talked about before, playing for the Yankees is a thing that takes a big toll on people. It has a lot of pressure for you. So I think playing for the Yankees would help him a lot because he knows what he's doing there. I think it would be attractive to the Yankees because he knows how to maneuver in the Bronx. He knows how to pitch there. He knows what the expectations are. So definitely someone to watch here for the Yankees. But again, it's just a money situation. I don't think they have enough dough for him. So I don't think he goes there. I think he ends up going to the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox have mentioned a lot with him in the past few weeks. As reported by some people, I think it's kind of a waiting game at this point. Which player cracks first? Montgomery wants a 7-year deal. The Red Sox don't want to do that for obvious reasons. I think at some point the Red Sox are going to say, you know what, we need this guy. Just give him the contract he wants. Or Montgomery's going to say, you know what, I want to pitch, and so I'll take the short-term contract. Maybe not even. I don't even know if it's a short-term contract or a shorter-term contract, kind of a 1, 2, 3 year deal, kind of in the same way as Chapman and Bellinger, or it's maybe a 5-year deal instead of a 7-year deal with the AAV he wants. I'm not sure what the contract situation is going to look like, but I think the Red Sox are where he ends up. I mean, they need pitching, of course. He lives in Boston in the offseason. His wife works there. I've talked about this multiple times now. So I think the Red Sox are the most likely fit for Jordan Montgomery and where he ends up going. I really do think he ends up going to the Red Sox, and I think this is kind of their big splash. I think their need for a pitcher is heightened after the Lucas Giolito situation where he is going to be out for the year. They aren't competing this year. I want to make that clear. They aren't, especially in that division. But it's something to build for the future. You just fill out bodies in that rotation. You have a guy to put up there with Brian Bayo. So, you're building something in that rotation you can show. Maybe you go after a big guy next year like Max Fried, Corbin Burns. But you at least have something to build off there with Bayo and Montgomery. And that's why I think he's a fit for all the other reasons as well. Apparently they had a Zoom meeting with him, and that went well. So, Montgomery to the Red Sox, definitely a likely fit, and something I'll look for in the coming days before opening day, maybe even after. So, that is our segment 3. Talk about the free agent updates and some rumors about them. JD Martinez, I have going to the Rangers, Blake Snell to the Angels, Jordan Montgomery to the Red Sox. So, definitely going to look for these guys to sign in the near future, and what's going on with them. Kind of the same thing that the entire offseason has been about. So, that was our segment 3. We're going to move on to our segment 4 here, which is going to be news around the league, some stories I want to talk about that are important, but I don't think deserve their whole segment. So, we're going to talk about that, but first we're going to go to a break, and then we'll see you after that for our 4th and final segment. So, thanks, guys, and we'll see you after that. Bye.